Welcome to Cowork Mondays. My name is Scott Monday, and this is my 6-week series on implementing Claude Cowork into your operations, into your business, and maybe even into your personal life. Now, if you're like me and you're not a super techie person or a coder, this is for you. And what we're going to be diving into is Claude Cowork, which came out in early 2026. And it is a very user-friendly version of what they call Agentic AI. Now, don't be intimidated by that term. All it means is AI that can actually do stuff for you on your computer. And that's really this idea of AI acting as an agent. So this is week one. We're going to be walking through setting up your Claude account, getting the Claude desktop application onto your computer. And I'm going to actually show you what it means when I talk about your AI doing stuff for you from an agentic perspective. So let's dive into Claude Cowork. The first thing you want to do is head on over to claude.ai and sign up for a free Claude account. Now, the free account won't allow you to use Cowork, but that is the first step. You can sign up for a Claude account by either clicking continue with Google and using your Google sign-in, or you can sign in with an email, and now you'll be ready to go with a free Claude account. The next thing you need to do is you need to upgrade to a paid Claude account. Once again, Claude gatekeeps Cowork behind their subscription model. There are two options for you. The first is the Pro option, which is $20 a month or $17 a month if you pay annually. And this will absolutely work for Claude Cowork. In fact, I was on a Pro plan for the first few months of using Cowork. I just simply ran out of tokens and upgraded to the Max account. The Max account starts at $100 a month. And once again, you just need one or the other of these to use Claude Cowork. The next thing you have to use Claude Cowork is the Claude desktop application. You cannot use Claude Cowork through the web browser. You must have a dedicated Claude desktop application. Now, your screen may look different. If you're on a Mac, you may see the Mac operating system up here at the top. If not, scroll down. The Mac OS download is right here. But regardless, go ahead and download the Claude desktop application, and you'll be ready to rock and roll. So here we are on the Claude desktop application. Let me give you a little bit of a tour. In the top left, you're going to see the toggle buttons between chat, Cowork, and code. Chat's going to look much like Claude looks in your web browser. It's going to give you a little greeting and then a text box, a little plus sign where you can upload files, and then the model chooser here on the right. We're going to be using Sonnet 4.6 for most of this video. This is where you use Claude just like you would the browser application, where you're chatting with your AI. It's creating documents here and there for you. It's helping you strategize, but mainly it's more of a collaborative chat type of setting. Cowork, on the other hand, which is this middle button right here on the top left, Cowork is what we're going to be talking about today. And you'll see it even has a unique greeting, let's knock something off your list. That's because, once again, Claude Cowork is about doing things for you and with you. And this is what we're going to be using today. But before we dive into an actual example of Claude Cowork, I need you to open your actual files on your computer. We're going to be creating a dedicated Claude folder on your actual computer. For me, I'm going to go to my desktop. That's just a simple spot for it. I'm going to right click, new folder, and I'm simply going to create a new folder called Cowork. You can call it whatever you want. We're going to be pointing to it later, but just remember what you call it. And then that's it. And you'll now see your Cowork folder right there. If I open it, it's just an empty folder on my desktop. Once again, it could be on your desktop, in your C drive, but it needs to live on the hard drive of your computer, which brings up my next point, and that is that Claude Cowork will be working in your computer on your behalf. Just know that any folder you point it to could be subject to Claude Cowork deleting files or changing files. So be very careful where you point it and the documents that you put into your Cowork folder. There's a whole I guess, cottage industry, if you will, around how to set up your Claude Cowork folder structure. I won't be getting into that today. We're just creating the single Cowork folder on your desktop. Now let's actually dive into using Claude Cowork. And the example I want to show you is this document here, which is a 14-page PDF that my accountant sent to me. Very interesting document about the state of the economy and the construction industry. A 14-page PDF, lots of information. And this is a perfect example of how Claude Cowork can help us. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this file and I'm going to copy it and I'm going to just paste it into my Claude Cowork folder on my desktop. All right, it's literally just a copy of that PDF document right here that I was showing you. Then I'm going to go into Cowork and I'm going to point Claude Cowork to my Cowork folder. So I will scroll down to choose a different folder, click that, and I will go to my desktop and I will choose my Cowork folder and then hit select folder here on the bottom right. And you will see this loads, quote unquote, my Cowork folder. This means that this current task session in Cowork is going to be working within that folder. Once again, fully able to edit, to view, to delete all the files within that folder. Next, I'm going to give Cowork a little bit of a prompt. I'm going to use this product called WhisperFlow, which is a voice to text tool, super handy. You don't have to use it. It's just what I prefer. In this folder, you'll find a PDF document from my accountant. Go ahead and summarize this document in plain English, generate the summary as a PDF, and use like a 10th grade reading level for the summary. So you can see that the prompt pops in there. And right here, this little drop down allows you to require Cowork to ask you before taking actions, or you can turn that off and allow Claude Cowork to have less security measures around it. It's really whatever you prefer. If you use this top one here, you're probably going to have to allow permissions a little bit more along the way. I'm going to keep the model at Sonnet 4.6. Obviously, the models change frequently, so by the time you're watching this video, there may be different options, but Sonnet is a good middle-of-the-road model to use for agentic tasks within Claude. Now I'm going to click the orange up arrow and show you a little bit about what a task looks like as it's actually in process. You'll see we have our navigation pane along the left side here. You can collapse that or increase that, if you will, by clicking this button on the top left. And you'll see here, you'll actually watch as Claude Cowork does the thing, right? It actually narrates to you what it's doing along the way, what it's thinking about, what skills it's utilizing. All this is happening automatically in the background, but Claude Cowork is kind of cool because it tells you what it's doing as it's working. On the top right, you'll see that Claude Cowork generated a 3-step progress process for it to follow. You'll see that it already read the PDF skill instruction. It's now reading the actual source document. And then next, it's going to generate the PDF summary. Right here, this section shows you what folders that Claude is working within and what documents it's accessing. And lastly, the context section is going to tell you what skills it's using, what other types of connectors and things like that in weeks to come that it's using. We're going to let this run for a bit, and then I will come back to you when it's done. All right, so a few minutes later, the summary is complete. The summary is actually listed right here in the actual Cowork session, and then you can click here to view the PDF. But what I wanted to show you was if I go back to our original Cowork folder, you will see it actually created the document and placed it in the folder. Once again, Cowork generated this document and actually placed the file in the Cowork folder. And I really want you to wrap your head around that, because until now, you had to download documents, you had to save them places, and this is a very, very simple version of Agentic AI, but I just, once again, wanted you to see that it creates this beautiful new document with all the information inside of it and saves it to the folder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this session, and show you once again an additional step that we can do just to show how it helps out with various processes along the way. Now, rewrite that summary in a casual tone for my leadership team. Address it to Jake and Carrie. Make it a single page Word document that I can copy and paste into my email. All right, so I'm going to hit the orange arrow, let it do its thing, and I'll come right back to you when it's done. All right, so what it did for me, since I wanted to copy and paste it into an email, it just generated the summary for me right here. So what I'll do is I will say, please save this summary as a markdown file in the folder. Now, a markdown file is a very simple text file that you'll often see with AI usage. It basically creates a document that doesn't have any formatting or anything like that, but I just wanted to, again, show you the creation process. So it created the markdown file right here, and it saved it to the folder. And if I go in right here, you will see the markdown file was created and ready for me to copy and paste to my team. All right, so one last thing I want to show you. Let's go ahead and launch a new task here. And we're pointing to that same Claude Cowork folder. Inside this folder, create 3 new folders, one labeled June, one labeled July, and one labeled August. Click the arrow. I'm going to give it a minute here. And what you'll see is it's starting up. And I'll come right back to you when it's done. All right, it took about 10 to 15 seconds. And now if we go into our Cowork folder, you will see we have a June, July, and August folder. So there you go. That is the first session of Cowork Mondays. Let this sink in just a little bit. We just used AI to actually manipulate files and folders on our computer. This is really something that I think is going to potentially change your workflows. I've used this process to manipulate hundreds of files at a time, to organize different file folders that are just a mess, to go into images and crop them and edit them dozens at a time. Now, it takes a few minutes to run those processes, but it runs in the background while I'm able to focus on other things. And that's really what I wanted to show you in week 1 is the power of agentic AI to do stuff on your computer. Now, next week, we're going to be walking through how to create context within Claude Cowork, meaning how do we train Claude Cowork about who we are, how we like to work, our organization, our people, all those types of things. That's week 2, where we create context within Claude Cowork so it delivers results tailored just for us. Thank you for watching Cowork Mondays. Feel free to subscribe to my newsletter called The War on Mediocre Business. I produce content like this on a regular basis. Can't wait to share it with you and can't wait to have you follow along in this series. Have a great rest of your day.